Alright, imagine this. You're in the hospital, cradling your newborn baby for the first time. The lights are soft, the room is quiet, and everything about this moment feels sacred. It's the beginning of something huge, a new chapter, a new life, both yours and theirs. But just as the emotional whirlwind starts to settle, you check your phone. Your job is emailing you about your return date. You're being reminded, ever so politely, that the clock is ticking. You've got maybe a couple of weeks, if you're lucky. And then it's back to the grind. Commutes, deadlines, Zoom calls. All while sleep-deprived, healing physically, emotionally raw, and figuring out how to keep a brand new human being alive. Sounds insane, right? But for millions of American parents, this isn't some rare scenario, it's reality. While most developed countries offer months, sometimes a full year, of paid maternity leave, the United States offers nothing. No guaranteed paid leave at the federal level. You get 12 weeks of unpaid leave under the Family and Medical Leave Act, if your employer qualifies and you meet the criteria. But paid leave? That's on you. Or your employer. Or your state, if you're lucky enough to live in one that offers it. So the question is, why? Why is the richest country in the world one of the only industrialized nations that doesn't guarantee paid time off for new parents? Why are we expecting people to bounce back to work while still in diapers themselves? And how did we even get here? The truth is complicated, and tangled in history, politics, economics, and a whole lot of cultural baggage. Let's rewind. It wasn't always like this. In the early 20th century, countries around the world began building social safety nets. After the devastation of the Great Depression and the World Wars, nations like Sweden, Germany, and France prioritized the health of families, particularly mothers. Parental leave was seen as an investment, not just in families, but in the economy and the future workforce. Meanwhile, the U.S. went in a different direction. America's social programs remained relatively lean, guided by a culture of rugged individualism and free market capitalism. The government didn't want to overstep its bounds. Personal responsibility became the mantra. And any major effort to expand paid leave was often met with cries of government overreach or concerns about costs to businesses. And that mindset? It's still very much alive today. The global comparison. Let's put this into perspective. In Estonia, new parents receive over a year and a half of paid leave, 100% of their salary for the first 140 days, and extended support after that. Germany? They offer up to 14 months of paid leave shared between both parents. Even countries with smaller economies, like Bulgaria and Lithuania, provide more than a year of paid leave for mothers. And the United States? Again, 0 federally mandated paid days. It's not just about what's available, it's about what that says. It's about how much a society values families, and whether or not raising the next generation is seen as a shared responsibility, or a private burden. But it's not just about money. Paid leave isn't just a financial benefit, it's a public health issue. Numerous studies have shown that paid maternity leave leads to lower infant mortality, higher rates of breastfeeding, better maternal mental health, more involvement from fathers, greater long-term workforce participation from mothers. In short, it helps everyone. Babies thrive. Moms heal. Dads get involved. And the economy doesn't collapse. In fact, in many cases it grows. And yet, in the US, millions of women return to work within 10 days of giving birth. That's not just exhausting. That's dangerous. What about employers? Well, here's the twist. Many major corporations already offer paid parental leave. Tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Microsoft offer months of time off, with full pay. Why? Because it works. It boosts morale, retains talent, improves productivity. But here's the catch: those benefits are usually reserved for white-collar workers, often in large urban centers. If you're a nurse in rural Georgia? A cashier in Missouri? A single mom working 2 jobs in Nevada? Chances are, your maternity leave is a sick day or 2, and then it's back to the floor. So now the question becomes not just why doesn't the US have paid leave? But who gets it, and who doesn't? Race, class, gender. Let's talk about equity. Paid leave isn't just a family issue, it's a racial justice issue. It's a class issue. It's a gender equity issue. Women of color are less likely to have access to paid leave and more likely to work in jobs without flexibility or benefits. They're more likely to be single parents, more likely to face economic instability if they take time off to care for a newborn. It's a cycle that reinforces inequality, where those who need support the most are often the last to receive it. And when we talk about personal responsibility in a system rigged against working moms, we're missing the point. Final thoughts. Raising a child is one of the most important jobs in the world, and yet, in the United States, it's often treated like a personal inconvenience. While countries across the globe invest in their future by supporting parents, the US continues to treat childbirth like a detour in a career path. But think about this. When we fail to support parents, it's not just the families who suffer, it's the entire fabric of society. We pay the price in other ways. Higher healthcare costs, increased infant mortality, lost productivity, burnout, generational stress. And maybe worst of all, we normalize the idea that struggling alone is some kind of badge of honor. But it doesn't have to be that way. Change is possible. By rethinking how we value family, by putting pressure on our lawmakers, and by recognizing that care work is real work, we can start to rewrite the story. We can build a society where starting a family isn't seen as a liability, but as a legacy. Paid leave isn't just a benefit. It's a necessity. A foundation for a healthy society. A signal that we care about our children, our workers, and the future of both. And we don't even have to look far to imagine what that could look like. Countries like Sweden, Norway, and Japan provide generous paid leave, and they're not just doing it out of kindness. They're doing it because it works. It creates healthier babies, more resilient families, and stronger economies in the long run. It boosts retention in the workforce. It helps parents return to their jobs ready, not broken. The data is there. The stories are there. What's missing is the political will. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: this isn't just a policy issue. It's a values issue. What do we stand for? Do we believe in families, or just in productivity? Do we believe in taking care of each other, or in leaving everyone to fend for themselves? And maybe the bigger question is, what kind of future do we want to create? Because the world we pass on to the next generation starts with how we treat the people bringing that generation into the world. So if you're watching this thinking, this doesn't affect me, it actually does. Whether you're a parent, a friend, a partner, or just a human being in society, you're part of the ecosystem. And the more we normalize support, compassion, and fairness, the better it gets for all of us. And hey, if you found this deep dive into America's paid leave problem eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. We've got more long-form explorations coming, unpacking the systems that shape our lives, the myths we live by, and the truths we tend to overlook. Stay curious. Stay kind. And I'll see you in the next one.